I'm so close to the camera. If people could see how close I was, they'd be like, whoa. All right. Hello, lovelies. It's Davina Daras. It has been a very long time since I sat down and properly filmed a video. The last couple of videos I filmed were on my phone. I have a brand new setup, one that I really enjoy, and here I am. So I have pondered the thought of making a new introduction for months, for the past couple years. The past couple years for me have been great. They have been very productive. A couple years ago, I really solidified my business, which was to be a boudoir photographer and intimacy and sensuality coach. That kept me preoccupied for the last couple years. And then at the beginning of this year, I went through some hardships. I went through some tearing down of walls, if you will, and I've changed my course. But what has really happened is I feel like I've come home to myself. I have come home to my passions. I've come home to my truth. I have come home to the things that I truly love beneath the surface of trying to be a businesswoman, trying to be something for other people. Essentially, I've gone through a lot of grief, a lot of heartbreak, but really it was a very important part of my story, embracing the ebb and the flows. Since the dawn of time, I knew that I was an artist. I knew I was a dancer. I knew I was a writer. I knew I was a lover. I knew I was someone who was passionate about using my voice. I was passionate about helping people, but I was passionate about being. I was passionate about expressing myself, as I think a lot of children are, and I think a lot of people are inherently creative. All of us are creative in one way or another. I think that when we think of the word creative, when we think of the word art or being an artist, it has to look a specific way, especially with the influence of social media, the influence of other people, the way that artists are marketed, the way that we are taught that we need to be successful. I think a lot of us lose track of that inner child, that inner voice that guides us, that calls to us. The thing about being creative, about being self-expressive, it's to be present. It's to be present with whatever it is that you're feeling and to let it flow through you, within you, to create from whatever way that desires to come to fruition. It's funny because most of my life I've always gone through these highs and these lows, and especially when it comes to how that influences my creativity, I've noticed that when I'm trying so hard to put myself in a box, when I'm trying so hard to be something for other people, when I'm always giving, my creativity, it'll give me a high because I'm utilizing it in a way to do something and to prove something of myself for other people. Whereas when I go through grief, when I go through pain, heartache, the times of my life where I need to stop and I need to reflect and I need to go inward, my creativity comes out differently. It comes out at first a little bit more somber, but it also comes out in a way that is more of my truth because it is forcing me to be present. It is forcing me to focus entirely on what is happening in the now. And especially with something like heartache, it forces me to get quiet, to be still, because otherwise everything becomes very turbulent. It's almost like I'm trying to go against this force of nature that just wants me to stop and to listen. And I think that's what all of us need. I don't think all of us need to go through disaster in order to come home to the truth of our creativity, but we do need to spend more time sitting in silence, being with ourselves, listening to ourselves, not going on our phones, not going on the internet, not trying to listen to every single life coach that there is out there, and to just listen to our hearts, to our own voice, to our own mind, to our own spirit. But a lot of us don't know how to do that anymore because the world is so fucking loud. Louder than it's ever been. It's more chaotic than it's ever been. Everything is so fast. Everything is so uncertain. Everything is so all over the place. And at the same time, we feel like if we're not participating in this fast-paced rhythm of how everyone is doing and acting and performing, then we're missing out. But really, we're missing out on the present moment by robbing ourselves of that stillness and that ability to express ourselves from a place of being and not entirely from a place of performing or trying to prove of ourselves. I have been trying so hard to prove myself the past couple years, to prove to myself that I was capable of making money, that I was capable of being a strong businesswoman, a baddie, as all of them say they are on Instagram, which I did prove a lot to myself. I proved to myself that I'm resilient, that I'm intelligent, that I'm innovative, but I was starting to get burnt out. I was starting to lose my passion, and the thing that was driving me was more of the dopamine rush from the attention I would get, from the praise that I would receive, from everyone telling me that I was so good at something. It wasn't entirely coming from in here anymore. It was, but it was warped. It was like I was taking something I loved and I was trapping it in a box, and I was telling it to perform a certain way in order to be worthy, in order to be good, and that I had to utilize this part of myself to be successful because my passion for it and how it made me feel was not good enough anymore. And I think that is a lot of people. When your passion becomes your job, when it becomes the way of how you make money, it's almost as if you take the thing that sets you free and it forces you to go into survival mode with it. And then when you're in survival mode with it, you're not embodying it anymore, and you're not thriving anymore, and you're not really that happy anymore. It takes a lot of practice to remember why you do the thing you love, to remember where that love truly comes from, to remember that it comes from within. Since I was a child, I just knew I was meant to dance. I knew I was meant to write. I knew that I was a lover and I wanted to connect with people. I wanted to make people feel. From the very beginning, I have always been passionate about rendering people into their vulnerability, because vulnerability is truth. I have been a bringer of intimacy. I have been in touch with my femininity and my sensuality. I haven't always been perfect with it. I've felt disconnected from myself many times over. And I feel like every time something would happen to knock me backward, it was really just recentering me and forcing me to come back to this truth. And I think that is what a lot of people need. I'm in this place in my life in my late 20s where I feel like I have lost a lot of things. I've lost a family member I loved. I went through a breakup, if you could label it as that. I went through a bit of a financial deficit. I had to have a bit of oral surgery. Nothing significant, but enough to cause me stress and anxiety. I went through a lot of things that I think would really throw a lot of people into a whirlwind. I mean, it definitely did with me. All of those things brought me back to my truth. It brought me into this place of softness. There's something about being stripped of all the things that you feel like you need, the things that you're striving for, the things that you are going after because you're doing it from a place of scarcity. There's something about having your worst fear happen, or one of your worst fears happen, and knowing that you're still going to be okay. And that even when things crash, when the waves crash in life, just like nature, you will be okay. But you have to honor your sense of humanity. You have to allow yourself to feel. You have to let the turbulences that happen in your life bring you back to this place of, this is what makes life worth it. This is what makes life precious. This reminds me of who I want to be, who I don't want to be. I don't want to act like something that I'm not. I want to be true to myself. I want to follow my love. I want to follow my passion. I want to be myself. I want to find myself by going inward, not going outward. To remember that who we are is in embodiment, it's not in consumption. Something that I've remembered and that I'm continuing to honor is the power of my voice, the power of my femininity. And when I express myself through dance, and specifically, I feel whole, I feel sacred, I feel one with myself, I feel entirely present and in the now. I am someone who requires very little to be happy. And I've remembered that my happiness has never been attached to anything external. It's never been attached to a number or a status. It's always been me. I think that's what all of us need to remember, is that our worth is never in what it is that we do, it's in who we are. It is how we honor ourselves. It is how we stay true to ourselves. It is, are we a good person not only for other people, but are we a good person for ourselves? Holding ourselves accountable when we make mistakes. It's understanding that no one's perfect. Life is never going to be perfect. We're going to fuck up. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to evolve and change with time. We're going to go through obstacles, but it's a part of the process. And as long as we trust ourselves, we follow our intuition, we'll be okay. And even when things aren't okay, they're still okay. They're still going to be okay, because it just means that we have to go through something. It is important to not lose our love. It's important to do the thing that you want to do because you want to do it. Don't continuously overanalyze every situation. Don't try to tell yourself that you need to be something you're not in order to go after the thing that you want. If there's something you're passionate about, there's something you desire, that's a good enough reason to go for it. And it's okay to rewrite your story as many times as you need to until you get to a place where the story that you're telling is true to you. Because most of the time, if you spend your life chasing after something, if you spend your life running, you're always going to run into the same issues. You know, you can't hide from yourself. You think you can. You can run away from yourself as many times over, but eventually the truth comes out, because it's always about what is going on in here. It's always about what we embody. It's always about our hearts. It's always about the present moment. Who we are in here is all that matters. How we feel, how we think, you know, that is always given to change, such as life. It's about going with the ebb and the flow. It's about trusting. It's about being. I have remembered what true happiness and love feels like when I am not chasing anymore. I have learned how to be a student of my own philosophy. I have been preaching for most of my life. I have been preaching a lot the last couple years, preaching a lot about being vulnerable, about being authentic, about expressing ourselves. And I found myself to be in this position where I felt more like an authority figure than I was an example. I mean, I've been an example, but maybe to myself, I have felt more like an authority figure, the way I've talked to myself, the way I've presented myself to myself. And I've learned how to trust and how to feel and how to let go and how to release amongst the messiness. For the first time in my life, I don't feel like I am searching anymore. I don't feel like I'm looking for things anymore. I don't feel like I'm trying to prove myself anymore. And it's very uncomfortable. It's very scary. Well, it was in the beginning, but I'm learning how to be okay amongst all of it and to come home in that stillness and that being, to be imperfect. To not feel like I'm trying to perform as something that I'm not for social media, for the sake of likes, for the sake of attention, for the sake of approval, validation. I've come home to the truth that is me. What I love, who I am when I'm not always giving of myself 24/7, because I am someone who has given a lot of myself a zillion times over all of my life, always giving, always trying to figure out how can I save, how can I help, whether that's in romantic connections or that's in friendships. Just always being the mama. Always being the person who feels like she has to carry the weight of it all. And I remembered who I am when I'm not carrying the weight of it all. When I'm just being myself. When I am carrying the weight of myself. How can I show up for her? How can I be here for her? For my inner child, for the woman that I am, the woman that I will be. The present moment is truly all that we have. So, if you want to be present, express yourself. Express yourself for yourself. Do the things that you love for you. Don't try to be perfect all the time. Don't try to look everything up all the time. Don't try to ask other people questions because you feel like you don't trust yourself. Just do you. Do you for you. And everything else will fall into place. As Ethan Hawke once said, There is no path until you walk it. So don't try to follow a zillion other footsteps. Don't try to be something you're not. You can take advice, you can take guidance, but at the end of the day, the decision is up to you. Who you are is only unraveled by knowing yourself and by being with yourself and learning who that person is over time. It's through action, it's through mistakes, it's through happiness, it's through bliss and pleasure, and through hardships and obstacles. It's through everything, just like nature, the ebb and the flow. Everything has a purpose. Well, my natural light is starting to go away, so this means I need to wrap up the video, and I'm at 20 minutes. And before I sign off, because I just had another thought, it is important to let go of perfection. Perfection is the thief of joy. Do not let perfection hold you back. Do not trap yourself in an analysis of everything has to be perfect, everything has to look this way, I have to follow what all these guys and all these girls did. Just express yourself. Let it come out the way it's supposed to. Let it be natural. Let it be real. Let it be raw. Let it be messy. Let it be authentic. Everyone says the word authentic, but I think a lot of us don't even know what it means anymore. Because I think authenticity is something that it's not something that's designed. It's not something that's scripted. It just is. It's just going with the flow and allowing yourself to be present with that. You don't need to be perfect to be an artist. You don't need to be making millions off of it to be deemed as an artist. Build community, not a following. Focus on community and connection over appearance and what people are saying. Are people sharing it? Are people liking it? Are people whatever? Don't worry about all that. The people who are meant to find it will. And the people who aren't, okay, bye. There's so many of us in this world. Life is too short to be worrying about what everyone else is saying and doing. So, just do you. Let it be imperfect. Because by being imperfect, it's authentic. And when it's authentic, it's perfect to you, for you, in that moment. Just let it be. That's all I have for you today. Thank you for listening. I appreciate you being here. Till next time, lovelies. Bye. And it's okay to rewrite your story. It's okay to try new things as many times over until you find the thing that... There's this little icon on my camera and I don't know what it means. God, you know what? I'm just so fucking wise, okay? I'm just spitting facts. Come and listen to my little TED Talks here in my moody office. Because clearly I've got a lot to say. All right. Oh, the lighting is so like, whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Where's the lighting? It's over here, it's over there.